Good evening or good morning, wherever you are. You're on Force 13 Live. My name is Nathan Foy, and we'll be discussing everything that's going on in the world of tropical cyclones at this point. Of course, the main feature is still Cyclone Nathan, which is located just off the coast of northern Australia, the Northern Territories, likely to make landfall there with winds of around 65 miles per hour. Around 105 kilometers per hour or somewhere around there. Category 2 on the Australian scale, and not too far from Category 1 hurricane strength on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale. I'm joined as ever this evening by Daniel. Oh, where's that noise coming from? Is that coming from Daniel, hello? Oh, sorry, I've got you on mute. Hi, good evening.
I'm going to have to turn my mic off.
Okay, Jason's also with us. I don't think his mic is on at this point, but he's screen sharing for us today, showing us all the activity with the storms that are currently active. I'm not sure if I can see it on my screen. Oh, there it is. He's showing us the wide view of what's going on in the whole of the southern hemisphere. You can see Nathan just left of centre and Cyclone 20P, which has formed southeast of Fiji, just across the international date line. A fair way to the east of where Pam went through Vanuatu a few days ago, and if we have any news on that, we'll be discussing more about its aftermath as well. We've also got Nick with us today. Nick, can you hear me?
He's been muted because there was too much background noise.
I'll
put him back on.
Hello.
Yes, hello.
Oops, I just muted him again.
You're muting it.
Nick, will mute yourself.
Okay, fine. Anyway.
Okay, fine. Going up into my room where there's less noise.
Yes, that's probably a good idea, Nick. To have any meaningful conversation, it would be great to have you in a quiet place, just like the rest of us. But in the meantime, let's take a look at showing us first. We're looking at what's this? Talking about Tropical Depression 12F. Is that the same as Cyclone 20P? I believe so. Fiji haven't designated as an actual cyclone yet of tropical storm strength, but it's saying 997 millibars anyway. There's a close-up on the map there showing how the storm is just east of the international date line to the southeast of Fiji, and is probably moving out to sea. I've not actually had a look at the forecast just yet, but there should be one out now. Yes, I'll actually show that on my screen as soon as I can get it up and ready there. But in the meantime, that's the text forecast on Tropical Depression 12, and there's the image as well, near Tonga actually, isn't it? South to the west of Tonga. Its position is around. I'm not quite prepared for this. Position is around 21.9 degrees south, 176.9 degrees west. So that's just east of the international date line. Just the main part of the storm is to the south of Tonga. If you look at Jason's visible image there, I'm just trying to get my my own screen loaded. Here we are. You can make out the outline of Tonga on my screen here, the Tongolese Islands, just to the northeast of the central core of the storm. Fiji not really affected by it at this time, and Tonga itself isn't really particularly affected by the storm, but it's expected to move towards the south. Where's that noise coming from? That's from Nick or Daniel. Anyway, there's the track showing the storm likely to move towards the southeast initially, and then curving towards the south and then southwest. Not likely to become very strong, actually. Only up to about 50 miles per hour before weakening significantly, and eventually what appears to be a little bit of a stalling motion going on towards the end of the 3 or 4 day period there. There's Jason's image showing the latest visible on that storm. Is there any visible imagery of Cyclone Nathan yet at all? Or any imagery at all yet, because we've not seen any close-ups of Nathan yet on our stream here. Yeah, there it is. So the storm at this time is just just about to fall over that, but just about to make landfall on Australia's top end, not too far from Gove Airport, which has a station. And currently at that station, it's reporting. Well, earlier it had a maximum of 52 kilometers per hour gust, which is around 31 miles per hour, and its highest sustained wind speed occurred around half an hour ago. Or actually an hour ago now, where it was around 32 kilometers per hour, which is not very much really, only around 20 miles per hour. So nothing significant reported there yet, despite being very close to the center of the storm. You can see on my screen the latest radar imagery of Cyclone Nathan beginning to make its closest approach, and what may be perhaps its eye wall on the left-hand side just beginning to impact the coast of Australia there, just south of Gove, and then it's expected to continue towards, in the same sort of direction it's been heading, towards the west-northwest, possibly back over, well, probably back over sea again, not too far from Elcho Island, and then it will probably curve back in on itself. If I can show you JTWC's map, wrong one, of what Cyclone is expected to do. And you can see how the storm is expected to move towards the west-northwest and then curve round towards the southwest and then move inland east of Darwin and eventually dissipate inland. That's probably going to be in around 3 or 4 days' time, maybe a little bit more than that, but we'll see what's going to go on. Nick, what's all this noise going on in the background? We'll fade him down there. Daniel, what do you think about those developments?
Interesting.
Excellent.
Yeah, you've covered everything.
Let me also point out what warnings we have in effect for this Category 2 storm on the Australian scale. So you can see the whole area in the dark orange under warnings at this point, including the island of Grooteland, and the areas around there, extending all the way around the coastline, including the bit that juts out all the way to Cape Wessel, and then as far almost as Goulburn Island. Watch is in effect for that area, extending as far almost as Croker Island, as far as I can see. Storm expected to curve slightly further towards the north in the next 48 hours, and then weaken, and then move towards the southwest. I think on this map, Australia Bureau of Meteorology's map actually predicts the storm to move a bit further west than what the JTWC was saying. Yeah, that's confirmed there. On the Australian map, you can see how the storm passes over that little peninsula. I'm not sure of its name. But on the JTWC's map, it moves inland earlier than that and then moves towards the southeast. So it'll be interesting to see what actually happens out of that. Jason's showing us what the models say at this point. The track guidance showing which one's which. The navgem in the purple outline there, showing the storm fairly similar to JTWC's forecast, except there's a more pronounced turn towards the southeast. Same too with the GEM model as well. The GFS has the most straightest track, and that basically has the storm hugging the coast on either side of sea and land, as it moves near Darwin and then moving out towards the west. But all storms do agree that when it does move inland the first time in the top end, if it does so, it won't be the end of the what's left of the storm, because it's likely to move back out to sea again, and in the case of the GFS model, all the way out into the open Indian Ocean by the looks of things. But the GEM says another landfall in Western Australia. So all areas extending as far as the Western Australian coast should be mindful of that, because the storm may end up knocking on your doorstep. But at the moment, warnings in effect for large parts of the top end, especially towards the east. Of course, the storm already passed through Queensland. I wasn't here, unfortunately, when it did make landfall. I was busy with the solar eclipse that we had here in the UK, but it did make landfall. What was it? A Category 3 was it in the end, or did it? Or was it just shy of that? Category 2 on the Saffir-Simpson Open wind scale. and then moved inland. Weakened significantly, of course, and was around 45 miles per hour when it moved back over the Gulf of Carpentaria. Yeah, it made landfall as a Category 4 on the Australian wind scale before weakening significantly. Barely held on as a Category 1, didn't it? And then now, of course, Category 2 about to make landfall once more. Nathan sure likes Australia. If you've any comments on what's going on at this time, any questions, we'd be more than happy to oblige and answer them for you. Just send your messages onto our chat feature on our video page, and yeah, all that jazz. I almost pressed the wrong button then. So that's Cyclone Nathan, currently with winds around 65 miles per hour, somewhere around 105, 110 kilometers per hour as it heads towards the top end, about to make landfall just south of Gove. And I'll show you a little loop of the radar imagery once more. Perhaps get even more close up on this, Daniel.
How much damage has Nathan inflicted so far?
I've not actually had a look yet, to be honest with you.
Oh.
Because unfortunately I've not really been in the loop in the past day or two because I've been recovering from my travels. But I wonder whether Nick or Jason could find that out for us.
Yeah.
Obviously we know still having more figures coming in from Cyclone Pam when it struck Vanuatu. That was over a week ago now. The latest fatality count is around 16, I think it was. It may be higher still now. But that was the official number. I believe the unofficial number may be higher. As far as Australia is concerned, I'll have a little look. Don't yawn on air, Daniel.
Pardon?
Don't yawn on air.
How did you know?
Because I could hear it.
Oh.
Yeah, clearly.
Sorry.
Yeah, you'd better be.
Oh.
So,
silent.
no, Cyclone Nathan making landfall in the top end at this time. And I'm not seeing any particular information on what it has caused yet. But I believe it was significant when it made its first landfall. Oh, here we are as well. There's the latest radar imagery just south of Nillan B. I'm not exactly sure how that's pronounced. You can sort of see that little central area as well where the eye is trying to poke out. I know on the latest satellite imagery you can see it starting to appear once more, the eye. You can see some updates on the right-hand side. Fears housing won't stand a chance as Nillan B gets set for a storm to hit. Community in Northern Land are bracing for Cyclone Nathan, likely to make landfall this morning, of course. And by the looks of things, it will probably be in the very immediate future. Thanks for the pronunciation, Jason. In about what I would say is maybe an hour, maybe 2 hours from now. Daniel, quit yawning.
Oh, sorry.
Nillaby. Okay, Nillaby. And
Still tired.
And Nathan was parading around the coast of Queensland last week as well. It's certainly a storm that's lasting quite a long time, and it's going to make landfall here this time. Liked Queensland so much it visited after stalling near it once already. Made landfall eventually, and sticking around the north coast. Now, it's unclear whether it will be a hurricane-force storm when it does make landfall, at least on the Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, and it may be the case that we don't find out either because it might have weakened by the time the next update comes in at 1 a.m. Obviously, we won't be here for that, but we may do an update at 1:30, like we so often do. Not live, that'll be a recorded update. But, yeah. Anything to add, Daniel or Nick?
No. Yeah, Nick. Nick, have you got anything to say?
Well, we don't know because you muted him.
Oh, Nick, unmute yourself, please.
Yeah, that's
No.
Yeah.
I have nothing to say.
Excellent.
Can I,
Yeah, go on.
Nick, when you're not talking, can you mute yourself because you get loads of background noise and it's really distracting.
Huh. That's strange because I have like the least amount of background noise here.
Well,
Like maybe my mouse moving, but
there isn't noise anymore. There was earlier on.
Yeah.
yeah, like
But
this.
yeah.
Would it be
Oh,
possible
it's
to?
my mouse.
And
Would it be possible
it
to
sounded like
decrease its
you.
volume?
Well, yeah, I do that anyway.
All right.
Yeah. Okay. But there you can see on the left-hand side what appears to be Nathan's eye wall developing on the left-hand side of the storm, about to reach the coast, just south. I've forgotten its pronunciation already. I'm not good at this, am I? Just south of Nillaby, and likely to continue towards the west-northwest. The Australian pronunciations are very strange, but then again, some of everywhere. Pronunciations are strange everywhere, aren't they? Better Skates says hello. Hi, nice of you to join us. Nice of you to stop by. I hope you're enjoying our broadcast. Nathan, of course, isn't the only thing going on right now. We also have another storm that's formed in the South Pacific, and that is Cyclone 20P at this point. We don't have a name for it. Fiji have not yet given it one. That's located just south of Tonga right now, and Jason's showing it us once more on his screen. One of the first visible images of the storm, just south of the Tongolese Islands, and I think the capital of Tonga, which its name escapes me at this moment in time. I think that's located on the southernmost islands. And the storm is moving away, luckily, so I don't think Tonga will be particularly affected. I'm tempted to say that its capital is Nuku'alofa, but I think that might be a different place. But I'm sure someone will put me right on that one. Of course, another capital city, Port Vila, was one that was affected very recently. That was by Cyclone Pam. We're still looking at the aftermath from that. I mean, there's not much to see on any of the webcams, really. You can see on my screen here one or two webcams from Vanuatu. It's looking almost, well, from a distance, almost back to normal, but we do know that conditions are very grave there in some areas more than others.
Did you ever find out what those the smoke was?
We didn't actually, no.
No. All right.
I can only suggest that it was perhaps people making their own fires because of lack of electricity or whatever.
Probably, yeah.
So I'm not sure on that one, but I don't think we'll be seeing another. Well, it's clear that we're not going to see another Pacific disaster, at least not from this storm, because it's moving harmlessly out to sea. Tonga just on the periphery of it, but well out of the way of the intense thunderstorms near the centre, and I expect the high winds that are, well, not so high really. Winds are only around 40 miles per hour, but the winds that are occurring there, it's well out of that zone as well. You're on Force 13 Live. The time is 10:18 p.m. here in the UK. Local time in Australia, in the east at least, is going to be what? 10 hours in front, is it still? So that would make it 8 a.m. In Queensland at least. I'm not entirely sure that is the time, but I think it should be. And I think it's 9.5 hours in the Northern Territory, if I'm not mistaken. Someone will put me right if I'm wrong. But that's where we have Cyclone Nathan, which is making landfall. And there's some observations from Gove Airport. The highest wind gust so far, 52 kilometers per hour. And it just had a recent reading at 7:30 a.m. of 48. But the highest sustained wind around 32 kilometers per hour. So nothing really major just yet. The rainfall total a little bit more interesting, I suppose. The biggest jump in a short while, 10.2 millimeters since 9 a.m. yesterday. 7 of those millimeters at least coming in the past 2 hours. So the rain is really ramping up there in the past few hours, and will probably continue to do so as the storm makes its closest approach to that station in the next 2 hours or so. There's another image of Nathan. Oh, we had it on there just for a moment, Jason. It might want to go back there to have a look. There's 20p. Still yet to receive a name. There's the wide view, and back to Nathan there. just along the coast of the Northern Territory. You see its influence extending across the whole top end there by the looks of things, with a big splodge of heavy rainfall occurring not so far from Darwin by the looks of things as well. That's an isolated shower by the looks of things.
Nick?
Yeah, what? No, that's him. In the meantime, I'm just looking at any more information that we have, apart from the ones we've already looked at. Yeah, just for those interested in what the situation is in Vanuatu at this point, the government of Vanuatu has prioritised shelter, water, health and food assistance for the initial emergency response. Transport of relief items to provinces is now underway. The Vanuatu government purchased food to the value of 96 million of their currency. I'm not sure what the currency is. Food assistance program will target 33,365 households in affected regions. 3,995 people remain housed in 39 evacuation centres in and around Port Vila alone. Polio, tetanus and measles campaign led by the Ministry of Health will support with support from UNICEF and WHO are underway, WHO. The Vanuatu Mobile Forces provide ongoing support to water trucking on Fate. Clean drinking water remains a critical need, with 16 people confirmed dead from Cyclone Pam, the storm that affected Vanuatu 8 days ago. As I was saying earlier, Cyclone 20P has also formed in the Pacific, but it appears that it's going to move harmlessly towards the south and will not affect any more Pacific islands at this time.
Has Cyclone Nathan affected Vanuatu at all? Or have I
No.
not
Cyclone Nathan has remained well away, affecting only Australia at this point.
All right.
So, I'm looking at the hurricane models for Arthur back when it was back in September, and I'm looking at this, and back in July, and I'm looking at this, and one of its analogs was Arthur of 1996.
Ah, yes. Interesting coincidence, isn't it?
Mm-hmm.
And whilst we're talking history, let me just tell you what happened on this day in the world of storms. Here in the UK, it's still March the 21st, but I appreciate that in the Pacific and in Australia, it's already the 22nd, so we'll do what happened on both these days. On the 21st, Tropical Depression 3W made landfall in Mindanao in the Philippines in 2002. For a tropical depression, it was pretty bad. It cost $2.4 million and caused 35 deaths there. Tropical Storm Henny formed in 2005 in the southwest Indian Ocean, followed by Floyd in 2006 towards the southeast. Tropical Storm Lola formed in the southwest Indian Ocean in 2008, and Cyclone Uluwai in 2010, or Uluwi, or whatever pronunciation is in that, made landfall in Queensland, killing one and causing $721 million in damages, which was, I suppose, one of the worst storms before Yasi came along. On the 22nd of March, all I've got on my database, which is far from complete, is Tropical Storm Omaze in 2010 forming in the Western Pacific. Looking at Jason's screen right now, you can see the whole view of the South Pacific and indeed the West Pacific as well, where Tropical Storm Bavi weakened several days ago, and the remnants of that are just over the Philippines right now as well. And they've been hanging around there for a little while. Not much has been produced from it. I don't believe that there's been any significant effects there, but just an interesting note to show you where the storm has ended up. I'll just check on the Philippines website, it's just in case we're missing out. But I shouldn't imagine that anything significant has happened. They have prepared for it, actually. And Betty weakened to a low pressure area. That was 2 days ago. And looking at this, they were preparing for it, but I don't think any effects occurred from that storm. So that was thankfully a non-event for the most part in the Philippines. What is more of an event is Cyclone Nathan making landfall in the Northern Territory of Australia at this time, about to make landfall. I'd say in the next hour or two, maybe less than that actually, since satellite imagery isn't always most up to date, though it is not too far from that. Latest radar imagery on my screen shows what's been going on, what the latest images here, how it's been approaching the coast. You can just about see the coast of the top end there, just south of Gove, where that station is, and heavy rainfall occurring just south of there at this time. You can just about see the central eye of the storm, which I believe is starting to appear. It's something that we noted on satellite imagery just before the show started. So heavy rain likely there. Of course, the warning areas, if you didn't hear what the warnings were when you joined us, I'll reiterate what the warnings are. And the warning zone is for Goulburn Island to Groote Land, including Maningrida, Milingimbi, Elcho Island, Gapuyak, what is it again? I can't get it into my head. Nulla Bay, and Groote Land, of course. And the watch zone extends from Goulburn Island to Croker Island, including Goulburn Island. Does that make any sense? But Golden Island and Croker Island essentially are in the watch zone, and could extend as far as Darwin in the next few days, depending on where exactly the storm goes. Let me try and get up a floater imagery on that. Nope. First visible image on the floater, you can just about see that little area where what appears to be the eye is starting to appear. Let me actually take a look at that latest image static, so you can actually register it more clearly. You can just about see that little area around there. That clearly is the eye beginning to show itself once more as it makes landfall. And it shows you also the proximity of where the center of the storm is to the coast at this point. That was as of 9:32 p.m. UTC, so that was nearly an hour ago. So since then the storm has moved closer, showing on Jason's radar right now how it's likely to make landfall in the next, I'd say in the next hour, though it has not been moving most quickly. It might make it 2 hours, but we'll see. Probably not when we're on air anyway. Daniel, what are you doing over there? I don't think you can even hear us. And you can see also on that radar imagery, nice comment, Jason, a red zone towards the south of the storm, so that's going to be where the most intense rainfall is at this point. Extending into the orange zone as well onto the left-hand side, so still some heavy rainfall occurring there, and on that spiral band to its north as well. The worst of it occurring well out at sea, though, at this point, except for a little area which is affecting the area near Cape Westall, I think it is, isn't it? So that's Cyclone Nathan, currently reporting winds of 33 kilometers per hour on at Gove Airport. The wind gust earlier was 52 kilometers per hour. Which of course is only around 31 miles per hour, so still nothing significant yet, but you can see that sort of area is still not really near the center of the storm. It must be very compact in terms of where the strongest winds are occurring in Cyclone Nathan. We believe the highest winds are going to be around 65 kilometers per hour, which is approximately 105 sorry, did I say kilometers per hour? 65 miles per hour, which is around 105 kilometers per hour. So that's what you'll be expecting if you live around that vicinity, along the coast there. Further inland or further along the coast, in some of those locations further towards the west, you'll see less winds, I should imagine, probably in the region of 80 kilometers per hour maximum. And where it's what could well be its ultimate landfall position, you'll probably see winds of around 70 kilometers per hour. Which could end up ranging anywhere from, let me get my locations again, anywhere from Goulburn Island to perhaps as far west as Darwin, or maybe even no landfall at all. It could surprise us all just yet, but we'll see. The Australian track map goes for a more westerly track to what the JTWC say. You can move it, you can see it there clearly moving over Croker Island and beyond towards the southwest. On the JTWC map, it moves quite far short of that. There's the area we were talking about just before, and this is how further back it is, moved towards the southwest. Going no closer to, what's that, 68 nautical miles from Darwin. Yeah. Daniel, your turn.
Turn for what?
Done enough speaking.
Nick?
Oh, that's helpful.
Hello?
I can't think of anything to say.
Fine.
Hello? I'm just looking at
there's Jason showing us the whole. And you can see quite a lot of disturbed weather occurring not too far from the equator as well in the South Pacific. So who knows? We may be seeing some more stuff forming in the next few days. Well, actually, I'll take a look at the models shortly. But first, I really need to remind people on our social pages that we're on the air.
You forgot again.
Yeah, well, it's better now rather than whatever. It's better to do it live rather than before we go live because people forget very, very quickly.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you've just joined us, we're talking about Cyclone Nathan and Cyclone 20P. These storms are located in the southern hemisphere. We've seen, what is it now, 19 storms so far in 2015 around the world. Oh, is it 20? I'll find the totals for you. Totals are 19 tropical storms so far in 2015 around the world. 10 of those have become Category 1 hurricanes or their equivalents, and 6 have gone on to become Category 3 storms in 2015 so far. There's Jason once again showing us Tropical Storm 20P, at least the JTWC have called it as such. They say winds of 40 miles per hour. Fiji is still calling it Tropical Depression 12F, which has an air pressure according to them of 997 hectopascals. And likely to strengthen somewhat and then reach a peak wind speed somewhere around 45 miles per hour and then weaken. Not likely to affect any significant land areas south of Tonga. Not likely to affect that area either. It's already moving away. Nick, your mouse is so loud. And for some reason, yeah, for some reason my volume controls are having no effect at all. Because your mouse isn't as loud as your voice, so that's a big difference there. Let me take a look now at what the models are saying. Let me load up the models. Losing my voice today.
Can I say something?
Yeah, you can.
I'm sorry if I keep going off, but the app keeps crashing yet again. And it's very inconvenient.
Yeah, it is indeed. Let me just have a look at the models for the South Pacific to see what we've got likely to form. Before we do, let me just mention to everyone at home that the members of Team 13, we are quite a big group. Well, I say quite big. There's about 8 of us, all in one chat room on Skype. But we're all having a little bit of an off-topic chat tomorrow evening. That's Sunday evening. We're going to be on Force 13 Extra, our other channel. Search Force 13 Extra to find it. Force 13 XTRA without the E at the beginning. To find our other channel, which we only recently launched, and we're going to be having a discussion with Team 13 members on there tomorrow evening, and off topic, just for you to get to know us, really, and a little bit of light entertainment, perhaps.
Is there any particular topics we'll be talking about?
Well, we'll find out. I'm sure we will. I'm not sure who's going to be part of that yet, but I'm sure me and Daniel will be in attendance, so I look forward to that.
Yeah.
In the meantime, yes.
Bananas.
Well, you seem to have a crazy obsession with bananas for some reason. So let's take a look at what the models are saying right now. I think the Pacific is most interesting to look at. So you can see the first cyclone, Cyclone 20P. You can also see Nathan moving along the coast of the Northern Territory there. And now you can see a new low pressure system forming east of Samoa. I'm not sure whether that's the one developed. Yes, it is. So a low pressure system that forms east of the Samoan Islands and then moves back towards the west-southwest, and then eventually dipping towards southwest and then south and then curving back towards the southeast, possibly affecting Tonga and one of the islands further east of that. I'm not sure which one that is, and becoming a significant storm as it moves towards the southeast there. That's quite a way out, so we'll see whether it does happen as forecast. But that's what we're looking at here on the models. Possibly another significant storm for the Pacific. Hopefully, no adverse conditions on any of the Pacific Islands. As for Nathan, the GFS at least predicts it to continue moving towards the west. Not much left of it after it clears Australia. One landfall too many, probably. And then moving out to sea. And if there's anything left of it, it'll probably dissipate rather sharpish.
Ow.
Daniel, stop hurting yourself.
I'm not. It hurt my ears, that.
What did?
Nick's racket.
Well, I didn't hear anything from Nick because I've already got him on mute. Anyway, let's take another look at the latest imagery on the floater. Here's another view. And you can see on this infrared imagery how the storm's been advancing in the past few hours, and I think it's just slowed down a little bit in those last few frames. It's difficult really when you can't quite gauge the center until the very last frame, and if you are unclear as to where the center is, it's around there in the last frame, in the brightest spot in the center there. At least that's what I'd suggest. And the strongest side of the storm quite clearly on the left hand side, which of course is the landfalling side at this point, so heavy rainfall will be occurring there, no doubt. And that will continue. Not a particularly large storm, not an expansive storm. Wind speeds are probably not very high, except very near the center. We saw it at Gove. Wind speeds only just starting to get up a little bit, never mind as much as its sustained wind speeds at the center, which are rumored to be around 105 kilometers per hour. We're only seeing readings of around 30 kilometers per hour, if that, sustained, with gusts of 52. That was the latest from Gove. Let's see if there's any other information on that, any later columns that are coming in, rows rather. At 8 a.m. there we are, a few more higher readings. 39 kilometers per hour recorded at 8 a.m. 37 2 minutes before, with wind gusts of 63. So getting at least halfway to what the center of the storm is. It won't go terribly high at Gove because the storm will pass just south of it, but that's the nearest weather station we've got in Australia, and the air pressure there 1,000 exactly, and it's probably going to dip below 1,000 at the next update. And rain since 9 a.m. yesterday, 10.4 millimeters. Not so much in the past hour, though in the previous 2 hours there were 7 millimeters. So that's when most of the rain occurred. I suspect that we'll be seeing some more rainfall occurring very soon indeed. Because I'm sure Jason's radar... Is this the naming list? So there's the South Pacific. So the next name's going to be Ruben. So I suppose maybe we could call it that already. Maybe not, because we'd look right fools if Fiji never named it in the end.
Yeah.
But that will be its name if it does get named by Fiji. It will be Ruben.
So my mouse should be quieter now because I am using a mouse pad now.
How about it? Mouse pads, inventions of the 21st century. Yeah, I'm using a mouse pad as well. They're very helpful. Very helpful.
I'm trying to slam it as loud as possible right now, and it's it's very quiet.
Right, very good. I think Steve has a question actually, so I'm just going to wait and see what Steve's question is. I think Daniel's app might have crashed once more. Is the radar imagery showing from Jason once more here? So you can see the latest frames showing the western side of the storm is probably the strongest. That's the part that's obviously going to make landfall. With winds we're expecting around 100, 105 kilometers per hour at landfall. There's the first visible image of the day on Jason's screen as well, clearly showing, at least I think so, what appears to be its eye, just starting to appear in the nick of time before landfall, and I suspect that it would disappear rather quickly once it does move over land. And Steve's question is, what was the strongest storm in the southern hemisphere and what year? Well, I know that Zoe was the strongest in the South Pacific. I'm not sure that it was the strongest in the whole of the southern hemisphere. I'm sure Jason will know, or maybe even Nick, actually. If Pablo was here, I'm sure he'd know, but he's not. I'm quite sure that Daniel wouldn't know.
Pardon?
He's back with us. Yes, I know. I said that deliberately just as you came back on because... oh, I was right with Zoe. Very good. Jason says so anyway.
Right.
Zoe was the strongest storm overall in the southern hemisphere. That's going off air pressure, right? I assume so. So, Steve, hopefully that's your question answered. Any other questions for us? Anyone? You could send them in on our chat feature whilst we discuss this latest event. It can be about storms past, present, or future.
Can I say something?
You can.
Yeah. Should I start up a fund to buy me a laptop so I don't have to use this stupid app?
Well, I don't know how many people would hop on board, but we'll see.
Yeah, I'm sick of using this.
Unlucky.
Not fair.
I can't. It's quite comparable to me trying to use my netbook to do one of these. It would be practically impossible. My netbook is it has a screen a quarter of the size of one of my two screens that I have in my room. So basically, it's around an eighth of the size that I usually have. It's just impossible to do a live event. In my opinion, it's impossible to do a live event without two screens, because really, you need one screen to help you out and one screen so you can actually keep an eye on everyone else and mute people whenever necessary.
Yeah.
But there's Cyclone Nathan once more. Cloud cover already over the eastern part of the top end of Australia. There's Zoe. That storm occurred in 2002, the most intense cyclone ever in the southern hemisphere. Though I believe Pam was stronger in terms of wind speed. at least according to Fiji. Wasn't very far away from its air pressure either. 896 Pam went down to. So sadly, it's little wonder that 16 people at least were killed when the storm passed very close indeed to Port Vila with 165 mile/hour winds. Obviously 265 kilometers per hour. Insane. And Zoe was actually one of those semi-rare storms that spanned 2 years, dissipating on January the 1st, 2003, according to that.
It spanned how many years? 2 years?
Calendar years, yeah.
Alright. That's confusing.
A few storms do that.
Yeah.
You don't really see many in the northern hemisphere, mostly in the southern, of course, because it's their summer. Though, in the western Pacific, it happens sometimes. It's happened on several occasions, actually, going back through the archives. There have been a few. I think at least 10. Probably quite a considerable amount more, actually, but anyway. That's going off the topic at hand.
Nick?
But yeah, here's some more imagery from Cyclone Nathan, which is poised to make landfall in Australia's top end in the next hour or so, with winds around 105 kilometers per hour. Warnings in effect for the whole area, as far south as Grooteland, and as far west as Goulburn Island, almost, with watches extending as far as Croker Island. And if the storm continues to stay strong as it moves towards the northwest, warnings, or at least watches, may extend as far as Darwin before long. And you can see on this imagery of daylight beginning once more in the far east, over the international date line, over the Pacific. And you can see also another interesting feature, because we're around this spring equinox, of course. You can see the daylight, it's in a straight line north to south as it's beginning to dawn, which is quite interesting and something you only see twice a year, of course. And that does mean, of course, from now on, at least until the October, or whenever it's September, rather. I say spring equinox, it's spring for us northern hemisphere people. It's, of course, autumn or fall in the southern hemisphere. And until September 20th or 21st, the northern hemisphere will have longer days than the southern hemisphere and shorter nights. And of course, the North Pole, the sun will not set there for the next 6 months. The opposite, of course, in the South Pole. But anyway, here's the latest visible image. So yeah, I was right in thinking that something may form out of that cluster of bad weather that's occurring not too far from the equator in the southern Pacific. You can see it all there, almost in a line of heavy clusters of thunderstorms, I suppose, which could develop into our next tropical cyclone. Already a cyclone forming south of Tonga, may well become Reuben. Was it Reuben? Got a short memory as well, haven't I? At least
not as short as mine.
Yeah. Oh, here we are. It's about a lunar eclipse. And I think Jason was talking to me yesterday about an upcoming lunar eclipse in Australia. I can't remember when he said it was. Oh, the 4th of April. So not so long from now then, actually, is it? Of course, if you've not seen it already, Force 13 and our new channel, Space 13, we recorded the solar eclipse that occurred on March the 20th, and that's online now. We took to the skies, not too far from Stornoway, to capture a 98% total eclipse of the sun. It was quite something, the first one I've ever witnessed, actually. Wasn't quite old enough to remember the one that occurred in 1999. I'm sure Daniel was.
Actually, I have fake memories, but I'm not sure if it's the same one.
Right. Well, it wouldn't be any others actually. So.
Actually, it must be, yeah.
Yeah, it must be.
Yeah.
And of course, the next one isn't going to occur here in the UK, at least. A partial one in 2026, but the next total eclipse not until the year 2090.
It's called Space Shuttle 13, isn't it?
Yeah, it's sort of got two names. We've called it Space
yeah.
13, but I suppose it's got another nice name, which we could call our HQ. We could call it name our HQ by Space Shuttle 13, I think.
I guess, yeah.
Only difference is it's not got any rockets attached, and it's not a space shuttle, and it's not in space.
Yeah. Goodbye.
Anyway. But there you are. Steve says it's Cyclone U because that's your name, referring to Cyclone Nathan. And also it tells us all that his nose hurts. Excellent, Steve.
Oh dear. Has Steve got anything to say to me?
Well, we'll find out in a minute. Obviously, we did have a minute delay on here, so a minute.
Yeah.
Time here in the UK, 10:50 p.m. Of course, early morning in Australia. The current time in Cairns is 8:51. In Darwin, 8:21, as far as I know. That's what the internet says, anyway.
The internet never lies. Oh well, sometimes.
No, I think it is correct because the observations are in the same area as well, and the latest one was 8 a.m., which was 20 minutes ago in that case. Confusing when you have half an hour in it on a time zone. There's a few places that have that. I think around India and Myanmar, somewhere around that, have something like 5.5 or 6.5 or whatever it is. But there's the latest observations in at Gove Airport. The latest radar imagery, you can see that here as well. Let's try and zoom in on that to show you what's been going on in the last few frames. The orange area covering land now on the western side, northwestern side. So heavy rainfall occurring over that area. I don't think it's particularly populated. But just north is where the weather station is. And of course the town of Nullaby, which may also see some heavy rainfall. Cape Wilberforce, further towards the north, we'll probably not see too much. Elcher Island may also be in the path of the storm as it moves towards the west-northwest. Wind speeds currently around 105 km per hour, though Gove at the moment only reporting sustained winds of 39 km per hour. Wind gusts so far, the highest we've seen, 63.
Nick?
An alternate radar
to add?
feed as well from Jason. I don't think Nick's with us anymore. I think he's had enough.
No. Goodbye.
No, I'm back.
Oh,
I'm back.
Got annoyed.
Could somebody turn Nick's thingy down? It's too loud.
I had to turn it up actually because I couldn't hear him.
It's making my ears bleed.
Well, I actually can't hear anything from Nick's mic. So, Nick, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Oh, hi. So,
Hi.
I really apologise because I had your volume fader all the way down because there's lots of noise earlier. Well, it's a strange occurrence because it goes up automatically most of the time. It doesn't even listen to me, and then it turns down, and then I wonder why there's no noise coming from Nick.
Yeah.
What do you think?
After a while, doesn't it?
I don't know. What do you think Cyclone Nathan will do? Have you considered?
I think it'll hit it and then it'll die. I think it'll hit Queensland and then it will die.
It's already hit Queensland.
Or I think he'll just die after this.
Fine.
That's a bit pessimistic.
There's Nick's knowledge of Australian geography there as well. Sorry, Nick. Yeah, well, I was actually looking more of a response along the lines of where exactly we think the landfall areas will be, whether there will be significant effects to Darwin. I wonder what Jason thinks. Whether he can convey his message on his screen, perhaps. Who knows? That would be very inventive. I can't even speak. Very inventive of him. See, it's not a good day for me, is it? I can't get any of my words out.
No.
Sometimes it happens, you know. Everyone's led into thinking on the videos that I record that life's all good and there's never ever a mistake. But if you've ever seen the special million views video, which happened in November, it has a whole bloopers reel showing all the problems that we had, where my voice just went kaboom, gone, kaput. And quite a few expletives mixed in there as well, which obviously we don't do on air. Jason also showing us the wind map right now. You can see how much of a tighter circulation Nathan has compared to Cyclone 20P. And obviously it's a stronger system. But I guess that goes to show that it's a compact one as well, and why we're not seeing, we're only just starting to see higher winds occurring at Gove, because until then they'd been very low indeed, only a third of what we'd been seeing in the centre of the storm. Or the estimated winds, of course. It's never certain until you get it on an observation station. Gove Airport, of course, is the closest one. Also looking at Cyclone 20P. I don't know whether Jason could zoom in on that for us to show us just about where in the world it is compared to Tonga and Fiji. So just south of those main Tongolese islands. And just on the edge of the storm's influence, I gather. Fiji, of course, not really affected by this storm in any way. But yeah, so well, somehow we got through another hour. But let me just run through all the latest information on all the storms we have active at this time. We have several. Cyclone Nathan, winds of around 65 miles per hour, around 105 kilometers per hour. Air pressure somewhere around 982 millibars. About to make landfall on Australia's top end as a Category 2 on the Australian scale. There it is there on the latest Australian Bureau of Meteorology map, showing where Nathan is. Any update? Yes, there is. And there you can see likely to move towards the northwest and curve southeast, southwest even, and move inland by the looks of things. Warnings extending from Grooteland to near Goulburn Island, including all points in between, including Cape Wessel, and watches extending as far as Croker Island at this point, almost as far as Gunbalanya inland as well. We also have what's left of Tropical Depression Bavi. Winds of 20 miles per hour, air pressure around 1010 millibars, hovering over the Philippines. They were preparing for it, but it doesn't appear there's any significant damage or effects going on there. Cyclone 20, you can just about see Tonga just to the north of the storm. Fiji well towards the northwest, expected to move south, not expected to intensify much, and is expected to dissipate within around 3 days from now. Latest from Cyclone Pam, 4,000 people still in evacuation shelters 8 days after the storm. The latest fatality count stands at 16. You've been watching Force 13's live update and discussion on all the cyclone activity around the world. We'll be back again very soon. Actually, we've got 2 minutes to drag out here. But we'll be again at another time, obviously discussing the latest in terms of the storms. Whenever necessary. Obviously, we may do another update on Cyclone Nathan and indeed on a potential new system that could be forming in the South Pacific. We'll obviously be keeping all eyes on that. Also, you can catch us on Force 13 Extra, our new what you could call a spin-off channel, where all our team members post videos on there as well. Check it out. Subscribe to that channel as well for the latest. We'll post a link in the chat box now in just a moment to let you know, if you haven't seen it already, where we exist on Force 13 Extra. And that in the future will probably be the place where we will have, hopefully one day, updates around the clock. Let's hope so. That'd be nice, wouldn't it, Daniel?
Yeah. Has Steve got anything to say to me yet?
Yeah, actually, he did say that. He said, Waniel, your ex loves you.
What?
Yeah, he said that.
That doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Luke
What a
says
nonsense.
he's back. He's in Australia. He hopes it doesn't turn out like Tracy. Is he referring to Nathan there? I really don't think it will, to be quite honest with you. But that's it from us. I don't know whether Daniel, Nick, or Jason would like to say goodbye, but I'm giving the opportunity to do so right now.
Goodbye.
Au revoir.
Au revoir.
Bye. Goodbye.
Nick, you don't even speak French, do you?
Yes, a little bit.
A little bit.
I've been taking French 1 for like almost 3/4 now.
Okay. Jason says goodbye silently by text. He's entitled to. And that's it from me as well. I was Nathan Foy, and we'll be back again sometime soon. We'll let you know on the Force 13 channel. Subscribe to us, and you will know. If you see on the videos, we usually let people know as soon as the time is actually formally set. Alternatively, you can follow us on our social mediums. Force 13 on Facebook and Twitter, all in text. Search for it on there. Follow us on one of those as well, and you'll be kept in the loop and up to date at all times on what's going on in terms of Cyclone activity and beyond. That's all from us from now, though. Goodbye. Have a good evening and morning.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.